The cheers and tears all calm down to this. Welcome to the final day of the finale of the Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship 2024 season. Right next to me is the #1 plate. This can be the deciding factor of who takes the championship home. But then again, there's a lot more factors. It could be the person that finishes second, third, or even a bit further down the grid. Everything and anything is going to happen this weekend, and today's the final day. I'm excited to see what's going to happen because yesterday's races really shook everything up. In the Underbones, we saw a slight shift of tides, but still, Akira Aziz is leading the championship with Aditya Fauzi just a few points behind. So it's going to be really tight for the battle. And let's not forget, Muribil Vitoni's excellent performance this weekend has been unbelievable. The Elephant Hajiputra 969 team has been so exceptional this weekend. It's anyone's guess who's going to be the champion this week. For the 250s, Herjan, he has a challenge on his hands because Farouzi's been looking really good, but one drop of position for Farouzi Tarakatullah, and right now, it's Kiandra who's leading the championship. He's been looking good all weekend, so will third time be a charm for Herjan, or will it be tears once again? It is really a tough championship to call. In the 600s, Apiwad's looking good, so Apiwad does have the opportunity to seal it off this weekend. And now if we look at the thousands, what a race yesterday was. We thought Yuki Kuni was going to take it from the start and really put on a fantastic show. And it was a good show from Yuki, managing to finish third. But then again, Andy Farid was absolutely brilliant. From the start, he started strong. And as we all know, Andy Farid's race pace towards the end is just excellent. And it was such an emotional moment as well for Zakwan. He managed to get back on the podium, so it was a really nice moment to see Zakwan back in his glory and back on the podium. But now it's a 7-point gap for the ASB 1000s. Again, anything and everything can happen, and let's not forget, Hafiz Sharin, he'll be looking for the podium once again here. So there's so many factors that play when it comes to the championships. But I'll tell you what, when we see them in Parc Fermé, we will know who are the 2024 champions. Without much further ado, let's head to the TVS Asia one-make on track, and I'm going to throw it to Barry.
Great summary there from Daniel, and a very good morning to a bright and breezy Buriram. It's especially breezy up here in the lofty location just under the roof of the grandstand that the commentary room is occupying. As Daniel said, we had a fantastic day's racing yesterday in all classes, and the first race of the day was TVS Asia one make, and we had such a close race. We had the first 9 finishers finishing within 1.2 seconds of each other. Once again, it was Hiroki Ono, the rider who sealed the championship last time out at Sepang. He crushed everybody's hearts and hopes by finishing first, but we saw the best performance of the season for the rider in second place, Sartak Shavan. He had a really mature ride through to second. He's been quite mercurial through much of the season, and this time he seems to have just calmed things down a bit, and there's a bit of maturity added to his raw speed, and he converted that into a superb P2. And we saw for the first time on the podium, the Thai rider, again, who's been promising all season, Ati Kanger. He came through to third, and just not quite getting the final turn right meant that Ramdan Rosley, who's been keeping Hiroki Ono honest all season, he came through in fourth. And another great performance from another Indian rider, Chiran Vishwanath. He was with the leading group all the way through, came in fifth. Purapong Malahuan, we thought we were going to see a little bit more from him yesterday, but he came through sixth, but within 0.8 of a second of the race winner. And if you can hear that growl of the 310cc BMW engines that power these TVS Apaches, just roar past our commentary box as they start their first flying lap of this quick 10-minute warm-up session. So looking back at the season, Hiroki Ono looks as though he's absolutely crushed everyone, but he had to fight really hard every time out. And although he looks at far distant, and he is far distant at the top of the table with 226 points to Ramdan Rosley's 157. As I said a few moments ago, Ramdan really has kept him honest in every race of the season. So massive credit to the Malaysian rider. We hope to see more of Ramdan next year. This is, of course, the last round of the season for the Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship. It's been a fantastic season. We started here for round one, as seems to be customary for this championship. So we bookend this series at Buriram, first and last rounds. And between times we've been to China, we've been to Japan, we've been to Indonesia and Malaysia before returning here. Weather conditions, I almost said they were perfect. It's bright, it's breezy, but the breeze is a little bit too stiff, but temperatures are much more comfortable than when we came here back in March, late March, which is around about the hottest and most humid time of the year in Thailand. The humidity is much lower, track temperatures are much lower. I think at their peak they were less than 45 degrees track temperatures yesterday, air temperatures around about 30. So much kinder for the tyres, and in terms of what the Dunlop people were saying, perfect conditions, tyres and tyre wear. Like the other classes, TVS Asia one make, Dunlop slicks for this series. Take a look at what's happening on track here. Leading that group through is the number 2 that is really number 1. That is Hiroki Ono. Number 6 going through there was KY Ahmed, who featured quite a bit yesterday. And Casey Clammer, Filipino rider, who's been pushing and trying to make his way up towards the front in this really high quality field. There is Ramdan Rosley, very much a hero of this series so far. And quickest, as things stand, in this very brief warm-up session, just over halfway through it, is Chiran Vishwanath. Practice, Chiran looked really good. Top of the qualifying session for much of it before Hiroki, and then Ramdan Rosley came through to push him onto the inside of the grid, side of the front row. Currently also, and you just stay with Ramdan for a moment, Kim Min-jae, the South Korean rider, he's come through a full season. Fair to say he's found it hard at this level, but great credit to him. He has been improving, and great credit to the people who support the sport back in his home country of South Korea. They're very enthusiastic FIM affiliate there. So despite the fact the sport is not established there, space we need to watch. Anybody else will be coming through of that very small, but very influential culturally influential, electronically influential country. Rider at the top of the screens now is Muzakir Mohammed. Here is the outgoing champion, 2023 champion. He went well in qualifying yesterday, qualifying 4th, but had a mechanical issue that took him out of the race, which was really unfortunate for him. So we're hoping to see him go out in a blaze of glory in this final race of the season. Yeah, if you keep an eye on this warm-up session, you might be able to see the cameras moving around slightly, and that's because we do have really quite a stiff wind. I called it a breeze earlier on, but as I was driving in and looking around me on the way into the circuit, I did see a couple of people flying kites, which struck me as not being a great portent for today. The riders on this circuit are probably going to feel it most at around turn 7. Is challenging right-hander, sector 2. Number 12 there, Irvin Eksan, the sole Singaporean representative in this series. Again, Singapore, there's no room for a racetrack in Singapore, so it's a challenge for riders from that city-state to come into ARRC and compete at this level, but credit to him. He's persevered all the way through the season and is doing a good job, although he hasn't been able, to be fair, he hasn't been able to get on terms with the fastest riders, and the fastest riders are really fast. Hiroki Ono has GP experience, 125s and Moto 3. Now there's no time here recorded for either Ati Kanger, who finished 3rd yesterday, scoring his first podium, or Rocco Sessler. Championship terms, job is done for Hiroki Ono. That was sealed in race 2 at Sepang. And yesterday, Ramdan Rosli sealed P2. But there is bit of a fight for P3 between Sartak Shaban, Warapong Malawahan and Rocco Sessler. So we'll see how that pans out. Rocco faded a little bit yesterday, while Sartak really well to come through and finish 2nd. So it's very much, in terms of that P3 slot in the standings, it's very much advantage Sartak. Next to him is Warapong Malawan on 103, so there's a 15-point gap, which is going to take some closing from either Warapong or Rocco. Warapong, who is a busy rider, as well as leading the project for this series and doing so much of the rider coaching for it. He has many other team management responsibilities up and down this paddock and in National Series, and he has his own rider training school. So that's the end of the session. 2023 champion Kia Mohammed was the fastest in warm-up with a time of 1.896. Take a look at those in a moment. Quite a promising time as well. That would have been good enough to put him on about P5 on the grid in qualifying. So there it is. Was a Kia Mohammed, 151.896 for him. Next up was the ever-present, ever-threatening Hiroki Ono, 152.085. Ramdan Rosli was 3rd best. He's always up there. Sartak Shaban 4th. Dekitiano Aldi, who had another good race yesterday. Warapong Malawan 6th, 153 for him. Chiran Vishwanath 3.5, and Kantapat Yapkantai, who is into TVS for this race, he was 8th. Kawi Ahmed 154.247 puts him 9th. Kim Min Jae, another decent session for the South Korean, was 10th. 11th, Casey Klammer, 155.2. Irvin Egsan, 159. And no times recorded for yesterday's podium finisher, Ati Kanger, and for third place in the standings contender, Rocco Sessler. So that's the end of the first session. We'll be back very shortly with a 10-minute warm-up for the Underbone 150s, and there is plenty to talk about in the Underbone 150s. So stay with us as the grasses wave in the wind here at Chang International Circuit. This is the last dance. This is the very last day of the season for the Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship. So stay with us and don't miss a minute.
Idemitsu engine oils are precisely formulated for meticulously engineered Japanese car engines. We are committed to delivering optimal performance. We fulfill this commitment through 5 ultra-protective benefits known as Quintec Guard. They unleash the peak performance of treasured cars. Drive anywhere with confidence. Feel the excitement in your heart. The highest quality engine oils in the history of Idemitsu.
So Lachlan, it's been a bit of a recovery period for you since you had your crash. So how has recovery been?
It's been pretty good. Obviously this weekend we've been struggling, and I'd love to say that it's because of coming back from injury and use that excuse, but to be honest, the shoulder's feeling really, really good. I've spent 9 weeks now, had the bone plated after the injury. The worst part of the injury wasn't the crash, it was the flight back home. 10 hours on a plane is never fun with a broken bone. But the recovery's been really good. I feel stronger, or as strong as I was before. I feel fit, I feel fast, so I'd love to use that as an excuse for why our weekend's gone the way it has, but honestly the recovery's been very good.
So we know you're quite familiar with the Chang International Circuit. What can we expect from you for the last race?
Everything. I'm going to give, it's the last race of the year. I am in a fight for 8th in the championship. Obviously I would like to be more. At least I want to finish 8th. So I'm going to give it absolutely everything. We've struggled all weekend, but the race is a race. Get a good start. You know, get the hockey strap out, get the cord out, latch onto whoever's in front and go as hard as we can.
Thank you so much, Lachlan. Good luck.
Thank you.
It's a very bright, very breezy Sunday morning here at Chang International Circuit. It's the last race day of the season for the Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship, and 4 out of 5 categories. The championships still need to be decided. Very tight situation here in the Underbones. It's time for a 10-minute warm-up session for the Underbone 150 class. As ever, this is really tightly contested. Aziz came in with a 1-point lead in the standings over LFNH Putra Indonesia's Fahmi Bassam. And yesterday, the results just slightly extended that, although Aditya Fauzi occupied second place and pushed Fahmi down to third, but it's still between those three in the championship. Mechanical misfortune befell Nazrul Izzat, the number 1 on your screen there. Nazrul Izzat Bahuddin, who's put on a brilliant defense of his 2023 championship. Was compromised, of course, by injuries sustained in Mandalika, but he's fought all the way. But the mechanical breakdown yesterday meant that he is out of championship contention now. Next to him is another former champion, Waiwaji Trilaksana, on that beautifully distinctive bright green Racetech 60 machine. It's Waiwaji's own team that he's running in ARRC, and the young rider that he's brought in to run alongside him this season, and it's been a fantastically successful strategy, is Aditya Fauzi, who now sits second in the standings. Yesterday, Aditya Fauzi finished second. Akid Aziz, the championship leader, finished fourth, so picking up 13 useful points. Aditya Fauzi added 20, which moves him up into the second spot, while Fahmi Bassam, who's been electrifying all season, finished down in 13. A little bit of champion chat going on, non-verbally, between Waiwaji Trilaksana and Nazrul. We're not yet halfway through this 10-minute warm-up session, but Waiwaji Trilaksana is on flying lap now. And no flying laps recorded until now. So what was that? That was a 204.289 for him. Sorry, 204.395 for Wayu, and a 204.289 for Nazrul. Now on your screen, the number 33, another distinctive bike, the Cardinals machine in that gorgeous blue color with the yellow wheels. Cardinals Factory Racing, number 33 of Faris Putra Fadil, the 16-year-old Malaysian, who's been really promising not only in this series, but in home series. He is the Junior Cub Prix Championship back home in Malaysia. And there is his teammate just going through, the number 11 on the similar liveried machine. That's Fazrul Sham, who's been really quick all weekend. Didn't quite convert it in the race this time. Fares was 10th in the end, 1.6 seconds behind race winner Murabil Vitoni. And when he comes on screen, we will talk a little bit about him. Just saw 222 for Yamaha LFN HP 969. Fahmi Bassam, who's been a real revelation this season. Him and Aditya have been the young riders that have come through and really taken the series by storm. Often it takes a couple of seasons to get used to it. Faris Putra I mentioned earlier on, he's been quick, but he hasn't converted it into results like Fahmi Bassam and like Aditya Fauzi has. The head of that group there is the number 88, Ardib Arsiad. pick out a few more numbers. Another rider who, for the first time this season, really looked as though he was going to get a good result was the number 17, Masato Fernando for Jiren Mobi. There it is on that, what Daniel described yesterday as a turquoise mint-coloured Yamaha. There it is, number 17. Nice colour scheme. He was running close to the front all the way through, but unfortunately had a crash right at the end, last corner, which took him out, along with two other bikes as it happens. But Akid Aziz, talk a little bit about him. He is leading the championship. He has been rushingly successful back home in Malaysia. Really, practical terms, untouchable back home, but has to work really hard in this series. There's the number 33 of Faris Putra. Very much one of Yamaha Malaysia's favoured sons. We've seen him in other series. Came here on an R3 for the Yamaha R3 Blue Crew Asia Pacific Series as a wildcard entry a few months ago. Acquitted himself really well, qualifying on the front row and finishing second in race 2. So great things lie ahead, it seems, for Faris Putra. It would be good to see him score a podium in Underbones before the season is out, and he's got one more chance to do that. But Akid Aziz had another race where he seemed to be writing the script, and what Akid Aziz likes to do is to hang around right at the back of the leading group. He ran most of the race yesterday in about P17 or 18. With 2 laps left, he moved up to, he moved up to P14, and then he came through it with a sense of inevitability to the front, but in the end didn't quite get it right on that last turn, so the final act in the script didn't quite work out for him, but he finished 4th. Those 13 very useful points for the championship leader. 1 minute remaining in this 10-minute session. Very respectable times. A couple of riders, Akid and Murabil Vitoni, on 2:02s. And a shout out to yesterday's race winner, Murabil Vitoni, another young rider who's looked so promising, and turning that into results as we reach the end of the season. And he's been dominant in Underbones, which is quite something to do. He was, going back to Friday, he was fastest in free practice 1 and free practice 2. He then went through to qualifying 2 and topped that session yesterday. Then he went through to qualifying to Super Pole, and he qualified on pole position, and then he won race 1. So it's been an absolutely perfect weekend for Murabil Vitoni. And while warm-up might not count, he seems to be going for it on warm-up as well. So the checkered flag's coming out now. So Akid Aziz won't get another flying lap. So his best time, 2:02.904. Fahmi Bassam has got to move on. Murabil Vitoni's teammate and still a championship contender. Second quickest, 2:02.437. So it's LFNH Putra from Murabil at the top at the moment anyway. Who else is on a good lap here? Wayuaji on a good lap. Afif Amran, who had a problem at the end of the race yesterday. It wasn't a crash, but I saw him shaking his head just as the checkered flag came out at the end of the race. Quite sure what that was, but he finished down in 12th, having featured at the front for the whole of the race. See what happens as this gaggle crosses the line. Any position changes? Seems not. So once again, the LFNH Putra at the top of the timing screens. Two of their riders, anyway, Murabil and Fahmi Bassam, their teammate. Husni Zainal Fauzi down in 16th this time on a 2:05, but Husni is also another absolutely brilliant rider that the team Yamaha Elephant HP 969 Indonesia has brought in. Husni on the podium yesterday in P3. So, fantastic weekend so far for the team. And there is the rider that's been dominated every session so far. Now, that is Murabil Vitoni. 2:02.234 was a very respectable warm-up time for him. His teammate, Fahmi Bassam, and championship contender was second. Akid Aziz, championship leader, third quickest. His former teammate, Ahmed Fazrul Sham, is third. And then it's Masato Fernando, Faris Putra, Gupita Krishna, Adib Arsyad, Wayuaji Trilaksana, Afifan Ram, Nazrul Izzat Bahodin, Rekat Yusuf Fadila was 12th, 13th, Giancola Maurizio, 14th, Dimas Juli at Moko for Team One for All, and Hafiz Fazrul Rasyadan was 15th. 16th, Husni Zainal Fauzi, quiet session from him, Pirapong Louis Bumpeng for Team One for All. Racetech 60s, Aditya Fauzi finished second yesterday, he was 18th in warm-up. Suchat Janjit was 19th, the wild card in for Synergy's team. John Emerson and Gito recorded no time, and neither did Joseph Perino. So that's it. Lovely shot there, looking up from probably around about turn 10. And we're going to take a break. When we come back, it will be for the warm-up session for the AP 250s, where some changes in the championship lead is so finely balanced. So we'll be back with you to talk more about that and to look at the main riders and runners in just a few minutes from now. So stay with us. We're at Chang International Circuit for the final round and the final day, the final race of 2024 for the Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship.
Idemitsu IRG5. Start like a rocket and ship like silk with super bike proven nano-tailored oil. Ultra protective Quintec guard technology distills the wisdom of oil experts. 5 protective benefits in harmony unleash the peak performance of your engine. Nano Silky Tech ensures extra smooth upshifting at high RPM. Rocket starts, silky shifts. Idemitsu IRG5.
So Tanat, yesterday was a fierce start, but unfortunately ended up with a crash in the end. So could you tell us what happened?
Yeah, so I pushed more one to follow front group, and I load control and load the front. But I forgot for the podium, many podium, and today I will do my best and I will try again. I want the podium.
Can't wait to see it. Good luck for the race.
Thank you.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us at Chang International Circuit. So far as I know, this is the last major championship on planet Earth that is having its final round this weekend, all other championships having been done and dusted. So we are here at Chang International in Buriram in the kind of central eastern part of Thailand for the last dance, the last day out on track for the Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship for this year. And as a lot of riders have been saying, and you heard Lachlan Epis say in his interview with Daniel a little bit earlier this morning, if you were with us, when Daniel asked him, what are we going to expect from you today? He said, everything. It's the last race of the season, so everything. And I think pretty much everybody competing today, up and down the 5 categories that we've got for you, will be having the same attitude. What a race we had yesterday in AP250s. AP250s out on their warm-up session today. Most of the riders just completing their first out laps. But we had a phenomenal race yesterday. So difficult to predict what was going to happen. We saw Ferozi Torikatula, who's challenging for the championship, from 3rd place, and a 12-point deficit as they came in from Herjan Atner, with Keandra Ramadipa in between them. He pushed and pushed and pushed, and his determination was kind of signalling that he was somehow going to get to the finishing line first. In the end, he didn't. He crossed the line 2nd behind Keandra, who was absolutely magnificent yesterday. But after the award ceremony, there was a decision from race control, which dropped him 1 place from 2nd to 3rd. The reason being that he had gone off track and gained an advantage from it, so they dropped him 1 place. So he finished 3rd. So that shook up the championship positions. So whereas Herjan finished 4th. So Herjan had been at the top by a slender margin. He now, as it stands, coming into the final race of the season, we have Keandra Ramadipa, the 15-year-old brilliant rider, on 147, and Herjan Atner in his 3rd season in AP250s and really wanting to go for the championship. Oh, the crusher there is a really interesting rider in this time. That's Humberto Neto, the Brazilian rider, who's come into the Chinese TY Antares team, joining regular rider Chen Zhenjiang. But he's had a little tumble. You see what happened there. Yeah, it's just a low side. So a little bit of damage to the paintwork and bodywork there, but Humberto unhurt, and the bike should be quite easily and quickly repaired. But Humberto was running right at the top and competing for the lead and possibly a race win, until he got involved in a little clash with another rider, which set him back, and he ended up finishing, just checking a moment, but I think ended up finishing in 10th. Yes, he did. 2.5 seconds behind the leader, but that's even in isolation, that would have been a remarkable result for a wildcard coming into this ultra competitive championship, which gets so much support from Yamaha, from Honda, from Kawasaki. So ultra competitive. So a team coming in from China and achieving even a P10 would have been a remarkable achievement. But the fact is, earlier in the race, he had been competing right at the front. The Brazilian has gained a name for himself by racing in the Yamaha R7 series in his own region, doing extremely well there, and also coming into the international. I think they call it the European Super Finale, when they bring the regions, the top riders from the regions together to compete, and acquitting himself very well there. And he's certainly made an impression on the ARRC paddock. The first time we've had a Brazilian in the Asia Road Racing Championship, and it's one that we won't forget. Cal Vietnam is currently at the top of the timing screens. He has been going well all weekend, although he had a spill. He has had a few too many spills this year, but in qualifying he was 10th. Very quick on Friday, didn't quite get the track position he needed and qualified 10th, and is sitting in P7. But he's had 1, 2, 3, 4 no scores this year, which means that he hasn't been in contention. But what he has done is he's established himself as one of the fastest riders in this category. And while he's been doing that, there he is, the number 65, just leading that group. He's got Irfan Haikal behind him for Idemitsu Bunshu Honda, and behind him Kitsada on the 111 East NJT machine. It was a really good display from Kitsada, who's in as a replacement rider for Piawat Patumios for this final round. Kitsada also running out the front and looking really good. Kitsada in the end finished 5th yesterday, just 0.3 of a second behind Kiandra Ramadipa. So it was a brilliant performance from the East NJT rider. And behind him, number 63, a rider very much of note, Sharifuddin Azman. Sharifuddin has struggled a little bit this weekend. He ended up finishing 2.4 seconds behind Kiandre yesterday in P8. So he's going to be looking to finish the season a bit higher up today. And in warm-up, he's a bit higher up. He's currently 3rd behind Cal Vietnam and his Idemitsu Bunshu Honda teammate, Irfan Haikal. Kiandra has just done a 154.2, which has moved him up a little bit. Race pace is around the mid to late 152s. Rider going off wide there. Not sure who that was. Let's go back with this group. And while warm-up sessions on Sunday morning are generally quite a relaxed affair, bearing in mind this is the last championship round, the last championship race of the season, and this one, as with the other 3 that are up for grabs, there's some real tension out there. And riders like Cal Vietnam, who've been quick but have not put themselves in championship contention, also want to go out in style. So Cal Vietnam, we know, is going to give everything. His fellow Vietnamese riders, Yoon Hoo Tri and Dong An Pu, also have been performing better than we've seen them this season. Their progression has been really good, and it's remarkable coming from a country that has no established racing and no circuits that they can practice on. But it just shows that if you have one rider that can come through to the top level, as Cal Vietnam has, then he will bring others. There's been good collaboration with Thailand, which of course does have an established racing tradition, and that has helped bring the Vietnamese riders up and through, especially in this class. Number 39 there, another rider very much of note, the 2019 SuperSport 600 champion, Pirapong Boonla. It's so good to see him back in as a wild card. Pirapong qualified 4th yesterday and was running right away with the front riders for the first 2 corners, and then crashed on the 3rd. I had a chat with him last night and he said that it was just his mistake, which is typical of Pirapong. He never looks to lay the blame anywhere else. He took responsibility for it, but he'll be out to make an impression throughout the race today. We know his quality, which is absolutely superb. One of the best riders that's come through the Yamaha talent development system in the last decade. And there are some big names there, including Apiwat Wongtananon, Anupabs Samoon going back a bit further, Desha Kraisak, Ratapong Willarot, and so on. There is Pirapong, chosen to spend most of his time in domestic championships in the last couple of years. There is the number 19, that's Tonam Pu, the Vietnamese rider. Number 11 going through there on the white Honda. That is Kamin Kintal for Idemitsu Honda Racing India. Irfan Haikal sticks a boot out there to show the others that he's going to come into pit entry, which is just after turn 11. Kamin Kintal goes through. Yesterday's race winner, 2-1-2, Kiandra Ramadeepa, the 15-year-old. He crosses the line for the final time because the checkered flag is out. And so it was Pirapong Boonlert, who looks like being the quickest in that session. There's nobody likely to threaten that. 152.757, so that's pretty much on race pace. The best lap in warm-up there for Pirapong. We'll have a look at the results shortly. Okay, so that's the AP250 warm-up done. And it was wildcard for Yamaha Viet Chonburi time of that session. Next up, yesterday's race winner and championship leader, Kiandra Ramadeepa for Astra Honda Racing Team. The brilliant Cao Vietnam for Honda Racing Vietnam was third. Shrifudin Asman for Idemitsu Bunchu Honda Racing Team fourth. Fifth, Rosie Torokatula still in contention for the championship despite a slight setback yesterday. Kitadar Tanachot, who's come in so strongly for East NJT, sixth. Seventh, Araya Gaska for Yamaha Racing Indonesia, and Irfan Haikal for Idemitsu Bunchu Honda was eighth quickest. Ninth, Urjanatna Pradaus, 2 points behind in the championship. Nguyen Ton Bu for Honda Racing Vietnam, 10th. Aiki Yoshi, 11th. Expect things from him this afternoon. Hu Tri for Honda Racing Vietnam, 12th. 13th, Warwick Tong Napakun for East NJT. Emil Itzar Ezwan for Pitspipe One-Way JRT Tech 2 was 14th. 15th, Watcherin Tup Timon for East NJT Racing Team, 15th quickest. This is a big field. 16th was Kamin Kintal for Idemitsu Honda Racing India. Victor Racing Team's Wang Jiadong was 17th. Alfred Jacob, good to see him back again. SDG Team Hark Pro was 18th. 19th, Deandra Trihaudika for Motul Sniper Manual Tech. Johan Emmanuel for Gusto Racing India. Good to see him in this championship as well. 20th. 21st, Shunchen Zhang for TY Antares Racing Team. Mohsin Paramban for Idemitsu Honda Racing India. Gao Zheang for Team One for All was 23rd. 24th, Leong Nanze for Victor Racing. He did a 201.255, and there was no time recorded for Humberto Neto, who had that early crash in the session, but expect to see much more of the Brazilian this afternoon. So we have 2 more warm-up sessions coming up for you for the 600s and the 1000s. Lots of drama, lots to talk about there, as we peep through a shroud over the camera at turn 3. So the wind has blown the shroud there over the camera at turn 3. Normally we see a beautiful shot down from the end of turn 3 towards the grandstand, but here's another one. The grandstand overlooking the whole circuit, and the camera wobbling about, so the wind could have an influence today. Perhaps turn 7 is the one to watch out for as far as that's concerned. But stay with us. As I said, we've got SuperSport 600 and ASB 1000 warm-up sessions coming up. And if you're anywhere near Buriram, do come and see us, because at 11 AM we have the pit walk, where members of the public can come and meet the riders and teams, pick up some merchandise, have selfie with the competitors and so on. It's always a bit of a carnival here at Chang International, so if you are anywhere near, do come and join us and say hello. We'll be back with you in a few minutes for the SuperSport 600 session. We're at Chang International Circuit for the last round and the last day of the Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship.
Idemitsu engine oils are precisely formulated for meticulously engineered Japanese car engines. We are committed to delivering optimal performance. We fulfill this commitment through 5 ultra-protective benefits known as Quintec Guard. They unleash the peak performance of treasured cars. Drive anywhere with confidence. Feel the excitement in your heart. The highest quality engine oils in the history of Idemitsu. Idemitsu IFG7. Flagship engine oil nano-tailored for high-precision engines. Enhanced performance in 7 ways with super protective septic guard technology, the accumulated wisdom of oil experts. Anti-power loss nanotech keeps your engine performing at its peak for extended periods in harsh conditions. Beat the heat. Idemitsu IFG7.
So Veda, it's always good to see you back in the paddock in the SuperSport 600 class. How was yesterday's race for you?
Yesterday race was unlucky for me because yes, I have some problem in the bike. So yesterday race one was not my 100%. Well, today I still have race two and also warm up. So I will try my best.
So we know that Adinanta's fighting for the title still. Is there any helping hand that you want to give him, or are you racing for your own race?
Uh, for me, in race two, I just focus for improve my riding and try to podium. Yeah, I hope Adinata can be in the championship. Yeah, I just try to podium.
Thank you so much, Veda. Good luck with the race.
Welcome back to Chang International Circuit on this beautiful sunny morning. We have lots of stunning sights and sounds for you on this very last race day of the season for the Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship. Sunday morning means we have 5 warm-up sessions for you. We've had 3, and on your screens right now are the SuperSport 600s 15-minute warm-up session for the middleweights, and we had a fantastic race yesterday. Really close racing, really close finishing, championship drama. So where do we begin with that? Well, we came in with Apiwat Wongtananon with a 14-point lead over Adinanta Putra, who's the only rider with a realistic chance of catching the Thai championship leader. As it turned out, Apiwat had one of the battles of his life to fight for the win yesterday. And Adinanta, having had a very lackluster day on Friday and free practice, and by his standards, pretty average qualifying, qualified down in 7th, so on the 3rd row. He put a different suit on for race day and came through really strongly and quite quickly to challenge for the lead. Took the lead at one stage from Apiwat. I mean, the pattern of the race was a really interesting one because Apiwat got away, put a little bit of a gap into the rest of the field, and we thought, no, that's it, this is imperious Apiwat, he's going to get away. But he was caught by Helmi Asman and Adinanta, and at one stage was shuffled back to 3rd, but fought back really strongly, really showed what he was made of, and eventually he took the win by 3/10 from Adinanta, with Helmi Asman hot on the heels, less than a 10th behind Adinanta. So it was a hell of a race yesterday, and in the post-race interview, I have to say, as Apiwat was talking to Daniel, I can honestly say, having known Apiwat for 12 years, I've never seen him so animated, so hyped up in a post-race interview. He was absolutely full of it. It was just the effort that it took him to overcome the resistance of Apiwat and Helmi in order to win the race. The achievement was fantastic. One of the best races probably that we've seen Apiwat do in terms of overcoming difficult situation. Just at the front of that group going through there is a rider we're very happy to see back in the fold after a full year away from racing, following a horrible accident at the end of last year which completely smashed up his right ankle. It's been a long recovery. That is Ratapong Willarat in as a wild card this time for Yamaha Thailand racing team. Great to see him back. He was absolutely on fire on Friday in free practice. He was brilliant in qualifying. It looked as though he was going to get pole position until his compatriot in red for Honda Racing Thailand, Tanat Longpleo, put in an absolutely brilliant lap to take pole position. That's for the class rookie Tanat. Ratapong, as you may remember if you've been with the championship for a few years, was the 2018 SuperSport 600 champions. Back then, SuperSport was the top class. ASP 1000 came in at the beginning of 2019. So Ratapong, brilliant performance to put himself on the front row for the start of yesterday's race. He started strongly, but had a coming together with another rider which put him back, and in his effort to catch up, he cooked his tyres, and so wasn't able to convert that into a good result. The end, his race position yesterday finished 7th, almost 6 seconds behind Apiwat, who was your winner. So all of that means that Apiwat has extended his lead from 14 to 19 points over Adinanta Putra. So he most definitely has one hand on the 2024 SuperSport 600 Championship trophy. So it would take some misfortune to befall Apiwat and for Adinanta to put in a strong performance to overturn that disadvantage. There's 25 points for a win. So Apiwat would need to finish near the back of the field in order for Adinanta to overturn the Thai Riders Championship lead. And that is Apiwat leading the field, leading that group in and through the final turn. He's got Helmi Asman behind him, as he did for much of yesterday. Helmi did a fantastic job of keeping Apiwat under pressure. There was a lot at stake yesterday, and saw the best of all front three riders. And to put the performance of Adinanta in perspective, he came in as a rookie last season. Bit of a shaky start, like a lot of rookies who step up from 250s to 600s, but he progressed during 2023, came through and began to fulfill his promise almost immediately in 2024, just getting stronger and stronger. And the character he showed to overcome poor practice and qualifying results to challenge for the lead yesterday really speaks volumes. They're just getting a little bit out of shape, and off track was Vida Ega Pratama, another brilliant young Indonesian. Indonesia is turning out such amazing, talented riders these days. They have a world champion already in the shape of Aldi Satya Mahendra. Vida Ega was the Asia Talent Cup champion in 2023. Took that championship by more than 100 points. So we've seen some really strong riders coming through the Asia Talent Cup. Vida Ega is certainly one of those, and another one to watch out for. Physically, he's still growing into the 600, but his results this year have improved, and he looks a lot more confident, a lot more comfortable on the 600 machine. Seen him on the podium 3 times. Twice at Mandalika, his home race, and once at Sepang when he finished 3rd in race 2. So great progression from the 15-year-old. Ratapong Wilrot, we were talking about earlier, for Yamaha Racing Thailand. The quickest rider so far in the 139s, which is a pretty decent time. Race pace yesterday was in the mid 139s. Had a 139.197, and the first 4 riders all in the 139s. So track conditions at this fairly early stage of the day, 10:10 local time here in Buriram, Thailand. Really quite interesting that the warm-up times are quicker than the race lap times, especially as there's a stiff wind today as well. So as we go through, we're having some rider interviews with Daniel. It'll be good to get some more feedback from them. Number 31 tipping into turn 12 ahead of the rest as Apiwat Wongtananong decides to run straight on. That number 31 is Tanat Longpleo, qualified on pole position. The Thai rookie, he hasn't made the podium yet in his rookie season, but he did make pole position yesterday, and we were hoping for a good race result too. It wasn't to be. He had a crash on lap 12, the final lap. Struggled to the finishing line in 12th place, 27 seconds behind race winner Apiwat. Other riders who came through well yesterday: Azroy Hakim Anwar, Helmi's teammate. me. Yeah, Apiwat's teammate, Kinley Carl Paz, came through strongly in 5th. That was one of his better performances of the year, just 2 seconds behind the race winner. So the order was Apiwat, Adenanta, Helmi Asman, then Helmi's teammate at Idemitsu Honda, Ajroy Hakim Anwar, who came through strongly in the later part of the race, finished just a few tenths behind his teammate and in front of the Kinley Carl Paz. Watching there, Ratapong. Been having a look around, but that 1:39.197 stands as the quickest time in the session. It's a tight little bunch there, and lots of quality in it too. Tanat, Helmi Asman, Leda Ega. So there goes Tanat. Best time in this session has been a 1:40.4. But really, the warm-ups are to test out any changes in settings, put the brake pads in, bed in the brake pads, perhaps try new tyre combinations, although everybody has been running medium fronts and medium rears in this SuperSport class. Again, looking at these warm-up times, them against qualifying times, 1:38.4 was Tanat's time. So that gives you an idea of the advantage. Well, two things really. One is the advantage that qualifying tyres gives you in terms of lap times, so a second or a second and a half, and also just how quick Ratapong has been in this warm-up session. There is Wayne Agroho, number 89. You came through 9 seconds behind the leader yesterday in P10. Saw him bag a P4, as I remember, in race round 1. Here, of course, at Buriram. Wayne Agroho looked really promising at the start of the season. Since when he's kind of seemed to have lost his way a little bit. We know his quality. He's another rider. There are many in this field who stepped up from 250s last year. There's the number 89. Pink number on the front and the matching pink top of his helmet. In fact, the whole helmet's pink. Lap time coming in for Wayu. Improvement there, so 1:14.9. Checkered flag is coming out now to end this 15-minute warm-up session. Some really quick times. 6 riders in the 1:39s. As I said earlier, it was a very good race pace yesterday. Most of the usual suspects amongst them, in fact all of them. Speeder was 7th, 1:40.024. Tanat, a couple of hundredths behind him. And always we see such tight differences between times in the SuperSport 600 class. Adenanta, championship challenger, 10th quickest in this warm-up, 1:14.273. Again, a very decent time, but we know how determined he is in the race. And it's been really good this season to see what Adenanta Putra is made of. He's progressed so well. When we were doing interviews on Thursday, which seems a long time ago now, he took a look at me just before we went live and said, "Barry, when I first met you, I was this high," and he pointed to somewhere below my shoulder level. Now he's taller than me, but it's not only the physical development. The way he's developed as a rider has been truly impressive, and a great credit to him and a great credit to the way that Astra Honda developed their elite riders. So that was a really impressive time for Ratapong. Oh, he brought the time down on the last time around to 1:38.847. So that's a really good qualifying time. So there it is on your screen there, the fastest rider, the very exciting this weekend wildcard, Ratapong Wheelwright for Yamaha Thailand Racing Team, 138.847. 139.296 was Azroy Hakim Anwar for Idemitsu Bunsu Honda. His illustrious teammate Helmi Asman was third. Utadate for Yamaha Racing Indonesia, in for the injured Andy Fadley, was fourth. Fifth, Tanat Longplio, the pole sitter for the race this afternoon. Apiwat Montananon, championship leader, was sixth fastest, 139.7 for him. Seventh, McKinley Carl Paz, his Yamaha Techni Racing Team Asia teammate. Kiati Sak was eighth. Ninth, Vida Ega Pratama for Astra Honda Racing Team. His teammate and championship challenger Adananta Putra was 10th quickest. Tosak Nguyen Sai, BRIC local circuit champion for Yamaha TNP PTT Lubricants, was 11th quickest. Razor Danica Arens looked good in the race yesterday, but had a crash. He was 12th quickest. Wayne Agroho, 13th, and 14th, Shajin Tong. Shajin Tong's best time, 141.999. So that is the SuperSport warm-up done. Nicely set up for a thrilling finale this afternoon. And when we come back, it will be for a 20-minute warm-up session for the ASB 1000s. We had one hell of a dramatic race with surprises, spills, tension, drama, and it's only going to get more from here. So stay with us. We'll be back in about 7 minutes for the warm-up session for the ASB 1000s. So stay with us at Chang International Circuit for the final round and the final race of the 2024 Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship.
Idemitsu IRG5. Start like a rocket and ship like silk with super bike proven nano-tailored oil. Ultra protective Quintec guard technology distills the wisdom of oil experts. 5 protective benefits in harmony unleash the peak performance of your engine. Nano Silky Tech ensures extra smooth upshifting at high RPM. Rocket starts, silky shifts. Idemitsu IRG5.
So Tetsuta, yesterday's race was a bit of a difficult one, a bit of a battle in fifth place with Hafiz and then with Yuki as well. Can you tell us about the race?
Yeah, the race was a little bit difficult because I tried to use the harder front, and I didn't know that feeling because when I ride alone, it was no problem. But when I follow some riders or when I battle with the other riders, so I had some problem. So then in the beginning, I tried to push hard and I tried to catch the front group. But then we start battle with Yuki, Hafiz, and Sharin. Then so I lose my confidence. So unfortunately, it was my mistake, and I want to say sorry to the team because I want to try the harder front. It was like some extra for the race, but it was not working well. But anyway, today I tried to use the other one, and I tried to stay on the top.
Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing it. Good luck.
Thank you.
So we're down here with Azlan Shah. So Azlan, yesterday's race, we expected you to reach towards the front, but once the battle started happening and there was a bit of an error for you, so can you tell us what happened?
Difficult race because not a good start from me, and also stuck behind rider. So I keep holding too long, but in the end I make my own mistake. I miss the gear, so I shift to once, then I lose the front. So it's a crash for me from yesterday's race. I feel very bad about it. Yeah, because I know that I can be on the top 5. Yeah, that's about it.
So what can we expect from you for today's race then? Because we know that the battle is going to be really hard. Everyone's found their setups.
Today I have some new idea for the bike. We're gonna try this morning test. We'll check and get prepared for the final race.
Thank you so much. We look forward to it. Good luck.
You are joining or rejoining us for the final warm-up session of this sunny Sunday morning here in Buriram, Thailand at Chang International Circuit. It is the last day of the season and the last race of the season coming up this afternoon for the 2024 Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship. And the ASB 1000s, as you can see and hear, are on track now. And this is such a finely poised championship. As it stands, Andy Farid Izdihar for Honda Asia Dream Racing with Astimo leads the way on 165 points, 7 points ahead of Yuki Kuni, who came in with a 2-point championship lead this weekend, and 17 points back from Andy Farid I beg your pardon, Hafiz Shirin Abdullah for JDT Racing Team. So Andy Farid yesterday put together an absolutely wonderful race. He started from, breaking down here, but I want to make sure I get my facts right. He started from pole position, setting an absolutely electric lap in qualifying. He started from pole position, got away well from the start, and it was a real perfect race from him. And one thing we know about Andy Farid that all the other riders, his competitors, refer to is just how good his pace is throughout the race, especially at the end. And by contrast, the rider on your screen there, the number 92, that's the SDG Hark Pro Honda of Yuki Kuni, came in with that slender championship lead. By contrast, he had a poor start yesterday and was at one stage 7th. He lofted his front wheel at the start, ran all the way back down the field and fought back, and it looked as though, until the last lap or two, as though he was going to even finish off the podium. In the end, he dug in, he finished 3rd, but with Andy finishing 1st, that meant that the lead flipped from Yuki Kuni to Andy Farid Izdihar. It was a brilliant performance by the Honda Asia Dream Racing with Astimo team, because for most of the race they ran with Andy at the front. First of all, Nakarin Atirapuvapat in P2 and Zakwan in P3. Nakarin faded as the race went on, so Zakwan took over the number 2 slot. And then Yuki Kuni overcame Nakarin to finish 3rd. Nakarin finished a very close 4th behind Yuki Kuni. So just in terms of race management, there was a little bit of a contrast there, and something that Nakarin is going to be working on, because in the end he finished 4.2 seconds down on teammate Andy Farid Izdihar. It was a very welcome and, as it turned out, emotional return to the podium for Zakwan Zaidi. So it was great to see him back. It's been a difficult weekend for the rider on your screen there, the number 55, on that gorgeous Ducati Panigale, flying the colours of Johor in the shape of the JDT Racing Team. Hafiz, who prior to the weekend had scored 6 podiums from 9 starts to put himself in contention for the championship, struggled a bit at Buriram, as he had at the beginning of the season, and then in qualifying had an absolute disaster with an early crash and a lot of work to be done on the bike. He effectively got back with just 2 laps on qualifying tyres and 3 flying laps in total in the whole 40-minute qualifying session. So he started from a long way back, down in 11th place, made his way back up. He showed good pace during the race and ended up finishing 5th. So he still has a shot at the championship, but he's 17 points adrift of Andy Farid, so it would need some misfortune to befall Andy Farid Izdihar for Hafiz to overcome that deficit. On screen now is a rider who's been grabbing lots of attention, not only from us in the commentary box and the people watching, but also from his competitors. Tetsuta Nagashima, the seasoned 32-year-old Japanese racer with a fantastic CV that includes stints in MotoGP, World Superbike, many other championships. And as soon as his entry was announced There was a lot of buzz around the paddock that he was coming in. He's popular with a lot of the other riders. Aslan Shah was the first one to mention that he was excited to see Tetsuta coming in as a wild card. And Tetsuta has done the job that he came in to do under no pressure at all. He just needed to go as fast as he could. He's in as a replacement rider for Astemo S1 Racing with Thai Honda, for Pasuit Titiwararak, who has spent the last couple of seasons plagued with injuries. So Pasuit, if you're listening, recover quickly, mate, and come back and see us soon. So, difficult day, but a good result, a decent result salvaged by Hafiz Shirin. And a very good day, and a very good weekend so far for Zakwan Zaidi. Zakwan qualified 6th, but was really strong throughout the race yesterday. So after those of us who know his quality have found it a little bit frustrating to watch the Malaysian former ASB 1000, former SuperSport 600 champion struggling this year. It was great to see him back on form this year. See what he can do this afternoon. And in terms of the championship, you focus on the top 2. Andy Farid Izdihar, 7 points ahead of Yuki Kuni. And play another scenario, which is if Yuki gets a good getaway, what can he do? Because it really was, they both started from the front row, but Yuki Kuni bogged down at the start and put himself a long way back and gave himself too much to do. But looking at his race pace, it was very, very close, within a 10th or 2 of the race pace of Andy Farid. And I think in terms of pacing yourself during the course of a race, if Andy Farid is the master, then Yuki Kuni is pretty close to being on his level. So if Yuki Kuni gets a good getaway today, you could see a lot of pressure put on the current championship leader. And thinking about teams, though Yuki Kuni is the sole representative in ASB 1000 for SDG Team Hart Pro. The 3 Honda Asia Dream racing machines of Honda Asia Dream Racing with Astemo performed an absolute blinder yesterday, leading 1, 2, 3 most of the race before Yuki Kuni overcame Nakarin for P3. But it was a masterful performance by all 3 riders. Now you heard Aslan Shah a few minutes ago talking to Daniel and saying that he made an error to crash out yesterday, just as we thought he was going to come through and make a difference at the front. It wasn't to be. He said he has a plan and he'll want to finish the season in style. He has looked promising all weekend, Aslan. He's happy, good frame of mind, a little bit irked with himself for yesterday's race error. But he'll be wanting to finish the season in style. He was a winner here back in March. So let's see what else he can do. We know he goes well at this circuit. He loves racing here, and even though he qualified 8th, he didn't quite find himself a good position on track to attack on those qualifying tyres. But even though he starts from 8th, one of the great sights we always look forward to in superbike racing here in the ARRC is Aslan Shah fighting back from adversity. At the moment he's on track just behind Yuki Kuni. We saw a good performance yesterday from his teammate Koichiro Minamoto, another young Japanese alongside Yuki Kuni, who's done so well, looks so promising this season. Sho Nishimura had a win at his home race in Motegi earlier this year. We saw him for the first time in Zhuhai. Sho Nishimura ended up in qualifying, qualified 5th. In the race had a few issues and finished down in 10th. We can expect to see a good race from Shonishimura today. In fact, he crashed yesterday and picked the bike back up. Sorry, my memory kicking in a little bit late there. Tetsuta Nagashima tops the timing screen currently. 1:35.5, that's a very decent race pace. Set in warm-up by the Japanese replacement rider for Passuit. Next best, a couple of tenths behind him, is Zakwan. Zakwan's teammate Nakarin just behind him. Nakarin full of determination and aggression this weekend, giving it absolutely everything. He gave a little bit too much and put too much wear on his tyres to really come through at the end, Nakarin. But you know what a determined competitor is, and he's going to be giving it everything as well today. Yuki Kuni currently on a 1:35.9 in this warm-up session, just ahead of Sho Nishimura, and championship leader Andy Farid is the heart. JDT Ducati of Hafiz Shirin Abdullah, 1:36.5, 7th quickest in this session, just ahead of two fellow Malaysians, Aslan Shah and Kazma Daniel Kazmayuddin. Uchiro Minamoto, who finished 23 seconds back from the winner yesterday, currently 10th with a time of 1:37.5. We have seen the two Yamaha Techni Racing Team Asia machines of Kazma and Soichiro improving this weekend, but they're not quite in a position to threaten the top of the leaderboard. There is Nakarin, Atura Puvapat. Been a great rookie season for him in ASB 1000. How many times have we seen him on the podium? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 podiums, 4th places, 5th places. So he is on 141 points. So still in with a distant mathematical shout at the championship. Andy Farid sits atop on 165. Nakarin, former Moto3 rider, did 2 seasons in Moto3. And you can just see the quality and competitiveness, and his own individual attitude is really determined. Such an unassuming character off the bike, so full of fun and humility, but on the bike he's an absolute beast, and it's always great to see him on track and competing with riders of the caliber of 55 there on your screen, Hafiz Shirin, as well as his 2 teammates, Zakwan and Andy Farid. Hafiz Shirin has the most impressive CV, arguably, of the riders in this class, having done a couple of seasons MotoGP and Moto2. Now coming to the later stages of his career, but still got everything to play for, and it's been fantastic to have him and JDT in the Asia Road Racing Championship this year. We hope to see a lot more of them next year. Oh, and down goes one of the Honda Asia Dream Racing machines. That is Zakwan, who's gone down late in this warm-up session. He's a long way from the bike, so that must have been a pretty fast crash. Can't quite see which turn that was. So Zakwan walks away without any sign of a hobble, but his bike is some distance away, hopefully not too badly damaged. Oof. Well, it is going to need a bit of attention, that bike. It rolls and flips through at turn 1, turn 4. So turn 4, the fastest turn on the circuit, which explains the distance between the rider and the bike after the dust had started to settle. So a bit of work to do on the number 21 machine. The marshals, as ever here at Chang International, quick to pick it up and get it out of the way. But the best news is that Zakwan is walking away without any sign of injury. In fact, the medics, rather than being with Zakwan, are helping to remove the bike. Tetsuta Nagashima remains at the top with a very decent race pace, 1:35.5. Yesterday, really good performance from him. In the end, he finished 6th, 9.9 seconds, 9.1 seconds, sorry, off Andy Farid. But the big question is here with Yuki Kuni. Can Yuki Kuni get his bike away to a good start? Usually he does. And having seen the similar race pace to Andy Farid yesterday, then if he can get away well and put Andy Farid under pressure, then that's going to make for a very interesting contest for the championship in the final race of the day and the final race of the season this afternoon. Kuni, his pace 1:35.8, best lap in this session, so also very much on a race pace along with Nakarin and Zakwan prior to his crash. Shirin on a 1:36.4, so still a little bit of work to do for JDT, and I'm sure they've been trying a few things in this warm-up session. Shiro Minamoto, haven't seen him on the screen yet, but he's having a bit of a push, improving, but the two Yamahas haven't been able to quite get on terms with the quickest bikes here. In fact, we had the first 4 finishers were Hondas, and then it was the Ducati of Hafiz and the Honda of Tetsuta, and then it was Yamaha, BMW. So we expect also to see BMWs, Soichiro and Aslan Shah, both on BMWs, and Lachlan Epis, we expect to see them higher. We also have Akito Hago, the genetically blessed Akito Haga, in as a wild card for Savitar ESG Team Asia. Akito in as a replacement rider, not a wild card, I beg your pardon, for the injured Xiaoyu Zhou. He's got a very strong team behind him in the paddock, in pit lane, so hoping to see something from BMWs, as we have a few really good ones, 4 really good ones in the field for this afternoon. Yesterday's race winner and championship leader on your screen now, Andy Farid Izdihar. 7th fastest here, but that won't be concerning him at all. He's just there to make sure that the bike feels right. Any little changes are working well. Checkered flag is out to end this 20-minute session. And it will be honours, warm-up honours to the replacement rider for Astemo S1 Racing with Thai Honda, Tetsuta Nagashima. And we're hoping to see more great things from him this afternoon. While it's frustrating for the regular riders, it's great for us neutrals to see really high-quality wildcards coming through. We've got a few in the different classes. So let's see what Tetsuta can do this afternoon. And let's see if Andy Farid, who's got a famously cool head, can keep it cool for this final round. Can he defend and extend his championship lead, which stands at 7 points? He takes the checkered flag for the final time. That was 1:37.2 that time around. We can see, just from looking down from this lofty location that we have in the commentary box, there are several spectators there. If you're listening, guys, I hope you'll join us for the pit walk, which is coming up next. So here are the results for that warm-up session. Replacement rider for Pasawit Titiwarak, Tetsuta Nagashima, quickest with a 1:35.5, very decent time. Next up, Zakwan Zaidi, though he crashed at the very fast turn 4, he's okay. Honda Asia Dream Racing are going to be busy putting that bike back together. His teammate Nakarina Tiruppuvapat was third quickest. Then it was championship contender Yuki Kuni, fourth fastest. Shona Shimura, the quickest of the BMWs, in fifth. Hafiz Shirin, or JDT Racing Team, was sixth on the Panigale. Andy Faridis Dehar, championship leader, was seventh quickest, and eighth was Aslan Shah on the TKKR BMW. Ninth fastest was, roll it, Kazmayuddin, I do believe. Yes, indeed it was. He did a 36.8. Soichiro Minamoto, his Yamaha Techni Racing Team Asia teammate, did a 137.1. He was 10th quickest. Akito Haga in for TOU Joe. Get well, Joe. For Savitar ESG Team Asia was 11th. 12th, another BMW rider, the returning Lachlan Epis for Evolution Sports Group, was 12th quickest. Then it was Natatan Songkoat, who turned his Yamaha into mobile barbecue yesterday. We're hoping for better things from him this afternoon. He was 13th quickest. Then it was Osama Murray and Chang Chi Ying on the A-Racer Speed Tech Yamaha R1M. So it's break time for us now. Here is the schedule for the rest of the day. Coming up in just a few minutes from now is the pit walk. You've got an hour to mingle with the riders and other people in pit lane. Grab some merchandise, take some selfies, and just have some fun. It's always a bit of a carnival, as I said earlier, pit walk, so if you're within reach, do come and join us. We get back serious this afternoon at 12:30. TVS Asia One Mate Championship will begin proceedings this afternoon, when Daniel Bogers and I will be joined by the great and mighty Des Corkill for the final races of 2024. So we're going to take a nice long break now. We'll see you this afternoon for the final races, race 2 for the 2024 Idemitsu FIM Asia Road Racing Championship. We'll see you later.
Idemitsu engine oils are precisely formulated for meticulously engineered Japanese car engines. We are committed to delivering optimal performance. We fulfill this commitment through 5 ultra-protective benefits known as Quintec Guard. They unleash the peak performance of treasured cars. Drive anywhere with confidence. Feel the excitement in your heart. The highest quality engine oils in the history of Idemitsu.
สวัสดีครับต้อนรับคุณผู้ชมทุกท่านเข้าสู่สนามช้างอินเตอร์เนชั่นแนลเซอร์กิตจังหวัดบุรีรัมย์ประเทศไทยครับเราอยู่กันกับรายการ Asia Road Racing Championship 2024 Final Round หรือว่าสนามตัดสินแชมป์นะครับวันนี้ผมดีเจก๊อกน้ำสนามช้างครับในช่วงกิจกรรมพิทวอล์กสวัสดีคุณผู้ชมที่รับชมผ่านทางเพจของ Asia Road Racing และก็เพจช้างเซอร์กิตบุรีรัมย์ด้วยนะครับจะพาคุณผู้ชมครับเดินทัวร์หน่อยหนึ่งในช่วงของกิจกรรมพิทวอล์กต้องบอกว่าในสนามสุดท้ายสนามตัดสินแชมป์นี่คึกคักเหลือเกินครับไปเราตามมาด้วยกันนะครับตอนนี้ก็บอกเลยว่านักแข่งไทยนะเมื่อวานนี้สร้างผลงาน1คนที่แบบว่าโอ้โหยังแบบว่าสร้างผลงานให้เราได้ลุ้นวันนี้อีก1เรสครับสำหรับสแตมป์อภิวัตรวงศ์ธนานนท์นะครับเราจะพาคุณผู้ชมเดินไปเรื่อยๆก่อนครับตอนนี้บริเวณพิทเลนตรงนี้มันโอ้โหคึกคักมากจริงครับและก็ที่สนามช้างตอนนี้บอกเลยว่าคุณผู้ชมที่ยังไม่ได้มาชมนะวันนี้เราจะมีเรสกันตั้งแต่ช่วงบ่ายเป็นต้นไปนะครับมาชมแล้วก็มาร่วมเชียร์นักแข่งไทยของเราครับนี่ครับเดินมาตรงนี้จะมาเจอพิทของนี่เลยครับสำหรับพิตตี้เกาสาวสวยคนนี้ช่างภาพเราไม่ไปไหนเลยคาเปล่าแมนเดี๋ยวยิ้มหน่อยลูกสวยๆนี่thank you โอ้โหแจกความสดชื่นเลยครับแล้วก็ทีนี้เราจะมาที่พิทหมายเลข67ตอนนี้ยังไม่มีอะไรครับจะมีมอบสติกเกอร์นี่ของชิปนครินทร์อธิรัตน์บูรพัฒน์นะครับสติกเกอร์ number 41 Thai Rider นี่มารับกันได้อุ้ยคุณพี่พูดไทยได้ด้วยขอไมค์หน่อยครับพี่กองนี่ครับเป็นคนไทยใช่ไหม
ใช่ค่ะ
ครับเชิญชวนหน่อย
ก็วันนี้นะคะทีม Honda Asia Dream Racing with Asimo ลุ้นแชมป์นะคะรุ่น ASB พันอย่าลืมติดตามชมค่ะ
นี่ครับขอบคุณนะครับเมื่อวานก็ผลงานยอดเยี่ยมเลยนะนี่ถ้าสแตมขึ้นอีกถ้าชิปขึ้นอีก1คนเนี่ยก็จะเป็น3คนเลยบนโพเดียมวันนี้เอาใหม่นะพี่เนาะขอบคุณมากครับชิปนครินทร์อธิรัตน์ภูวพัฒน์ครับนี่อยู่ข้างในอยู่เหมือนเขากำลังทำไงจะลากออกมาได้เนี่ยจันชิปนิดนึงได้ไหมมาไม่ได้โอ้เสียดายจังเลยแม่มาตรงนี้ดีกว่าครับขยับมากำลังแบบให้ข้อมูลอยู่โอ้โหเราอยากคุยกับเขาจังเลยอ่ะขอบคุณมากครับจันชิปสวัสดีครับโอ้โหขอบคุณทีมที่แบบให้มาด้วยนะครับมาทักทายแบบเมื่อวานนี้ในเรสเราลุ้นกันมาว่าทีมเนี่ยจะมี3ระดับบนโพเดียมเลยยังไงช่วงท้ายเป็นยังไงครับบอกหน่อย
ตอนแรกออกมาดีครับก็เกือบไปแล้วแต่เรามีปัญหาเรื่องยางหน้าอุณหภูมิยาง
ครับผม
พอเหลือประมาณ5รอบสุดท้ายผมเริ่มดรอปลงมาประเมินตัวเองแล้วว่าถ้าสู้ไปกว่านี้อาจจะพลาดได้แล้วพอทีมเมทแซงขึ้นไปอยู่3ผมหน้าพับโค้งสุดท้าย
ใช่
ครับคือองศานี่คือแทบล้มไปแล้ว
แต่กลับมาได้นี่เลย
ดันศอกดันรถขึ้นมา
ใช้แบบศอกดันรถขึ้นมาวันนี้เป็นยังไงวางแผนไว้ไงครับ
วันนี้ขอออกไปก่อนครับ
ขอออกไปก่อนครับ
เป็นสนามสุดท้ายวันสุดท้าย
แล้วเนาะ
พลาดไม่ได้ใช่ครับ
ฝากถึงคุณผู้ชมหน่อยครับชิป
ฝากท่านผู้ชมแฟนๆทุกคนนะครับอย่าลืมเชียร์ให้กำลังใจผมด้วยครับวันนี้เต็มที่ที่สุดครับมีเท่าไหร่ใส่ให้หมด
นี่เลยครับจานชิปหมายเลข41นะครับผมชิปนครินทร์อธิรัตน์ภูวพัฒน์ขอบคุณครับลากตัวเข้ามาขอโทษด้วยเมื่อกี้กำลังคุยกับทีมงานอยู่พอดีนะครับขยับมาตรงนี้นี่โอ้โห FC สนามช้างเลยนะครับสาวๆและก็ตอนนี้มากันที่พิทหมายเลข9ครับสำหรับนักแข่งไทยของเราเมื่อวานนี้ลุ้นมากๆแซมครับสวัสดีครับขออนุญาตได้ไหมครับแซมเหมือนยังไม่พร้อมเลยอ่ะด้วยครับแซมนิดนึงน้องยังไม่เตรียมตัวเลยครับเมื่อวานในเรสมันมาก
ครับก็สนุกครับ
สนุกเนาะ
ตั้งแต่ต้นเกม
ยันท้ายเกมเลยมีแบบว่าแบบแอบให้แบบแฟนๆได้ลุ้นบ้างมั้ยลงไป1อันดับ2อันดับมาเราค่อยดันขึ้นมาใหม่วันนี้วางแผนไงครับ
ไปอย่างเดียวครับวันนี้
ไปอย่างเดียวเนาะ
ใช่ครับ
โอ้โหนี่
ด้วยครับก็
เป้าหมายคือแชมป์เลยเนาะ
อยากจบผลงานให้ดีที่สุดใน3สุดท้ายด้วยครับ
ครับผมฝากอะไรถึงแฟนๆหน่อยครับแซม
ก็ยังไงฝากเป็นกำลังใจให้ผมด้วยนะครับแล้วก็นักแข่งไทยทุกคนนะครับในวันนี้ทำการแข่งขันครับก็เต็มที่ครับแล้วก็มาลุ้นกันผลงาน
ครับผมขอบคุณครับแซมอภิวัตรวงศ์ธนานนท์นี่ครับผมขอบคุณมากๆครับ มาครับเดี๋ยวเราจะเดินมาโอ้โหตอนนี้พี่ๆสื่อเยอะมากๆครับแล้วก็ดูสาวสวยนี่ครับจากทีมทีมนี้แบบว่าบอกเลยไม่ธรรมดาครับฮาฟิสยาลิมอับดุลลาแล้วดูเหล่าบรรดาพิตตี้เกิร์ลของเขาแต่ละคนนี่ตัวท็อปทั้งนั้นเลยนะครับนี่อินเตอร์ทั้งนั้นเลยนะฮะนี่ครับอดีตนักแข่งโมโตจีพีหมายเลข55อย่างฮาฟิสครับนี่ครับดูพิตตี้เขาไปก่อนนะครับเราจะเดินมาเรื่อยๆครับคุณผู้ชมครับตอนนี้บรรยากาศต้องบอกว่าคึกคักมากๆครับนี่คือในพิษของนักแข่งที่ลุ้นแชมป์อีก1คนสำหรับยูกิคูนินะครับหมายเลข92นี่ครับนี่ครับนี่คึกคักมากๆครับดูรถสกอตโอเคนี่ดูสิคาเมล่าแมนของผมนี่แบบส่องเลยครับโอ้โหส่องมากกว่านี้แบบโอ้สุดๆเลยจริงๆครับนี่คือเป็นรถของยูกิคูนิครับลุ้นแชมป์อยู่นะครับในรุ่นใหญ่ครับอย่างเอเชียซูเปอร์ไบค์1,400นะครับโอเคนี่เดี๋ยวเรามาตรงนี้นิดนึงเขามีอินเสิร์ตของเขาไปอยู่นะครับเราจะเดินทางมาที่พิษหมายเลข14หน่อยนึงครับตอนนี้เรามีผู้บริหารของ Honda ครับผมแล้วก็เราบรรดานักแข่งครับรออยู่ตอนนี้นะครับเดี๋ยวรอสักครู่หนึ่งรอคาเมล่าแมนของผมก่อนเขากำลังไปคอนเซนเทรตกับรถของยูกิคุนิอยู่นี่ครับมาถึงตรงนี้ครับที่พิษหมายเลข14ครับผมต้องสวัสดีผู้บริหารนะครับคุณอารักษ์พรประภาครับสวัสดีครับขออนุญาตเข้ามาตรงนี้นิดนึงครับขออนุญาตพี่ๆนะครับผมคุณอารักษ์ครับสวัสดีครับผมนี่ครับสวัสดีครับพร้อมด้วยนักแข่งซึ่งเป็นวัยรุ่นเลยครับคุณอารักษ์
เป็นยังเจเนเรชันนะครับ
ผม
ที่จะก้าวไกลขึ้นไปสู่เหมือนกับทางก้องสมเกียรติจันทรา
นี่ท่านก้องต้องเรียกท่านก้องแล้วใช่ไหมครับ
ท่านก้องครับ
ครับผม
ก็ท่านก้องก็เริ่มจากแบบนี้เลย
อ๋อเริ่มจากแบบนี้เลย
ก็ขึ้นมา
ครับคุณอารักษ์ครับ
มิกกับไมค์คิวก็จะขึ้นไปเป็นเหมือนกับพี่ก้อง
แต่มิกเมื่อวานนี้ขับดีมาก
โอ้ดีมากครับ
ครับ
บ้านเราใจมา
นี่ใจมาเลย
โอ้โห
ผมยังลุ้นว่าน้องจะถึงโพเดียมด้วยแล้วแบบออกซาร์ตำแหน่งโพด้วย
โอ้โหก็วันนี้คงไม่ผิดหวังเลยนะครับผม
อยากให้คุณอารักษ์ฝากอะไรกับแฟนๆมอเตอร์สปอร์ตชาวไทยเราหน่อยครับ
ก็มอเตอร์สปอร์ตครับเป็นกีฬาที่สนุกสนานนะครับก็ช่วยกันมาเชียร์นักขี่ไทยให้เราได้ประสบความสำเร็จเหมือนกับสมเกียรติจันทราเหมือนกับก้องทัชกรมานะครับผมเราไปเวทีโลกมา3รายการจูเนียร์จีพีอีกด้วยนะครับผม
นี่เลยนะครับวันนี้ผู้บริหารคุณอารักษ์มาเชียร์เองเลยนะครับผมขอบคุณครับคุณอารักษ์พรประภานะครับผมพร้อมด้วยน้องมิกซ์และก็ไมค์คิวนะครับ2คนนะครับผมพี่ๆสื่อตอนนี้เขารอตอนนี้มอบของที่ระลึกครับทั้งสติกเกอร์ทั้งอะไรอยู่เลยนะครับเราจะไปไหนกันต่อครับผมสวัสดีครับพี่ๆครับมาที่พิษหมายเลข15ครับโฟร์ธรัฐพงศ์วิไลโรจน์ครับคนนี้น่าสนใจเพราะว่าไม่ใช่น่าสนใจแค่นักแข่งอย่างเดียวทีมแข่งครับวันซ้อมวันศุกร์เนี่ยรถแบบเรียกได้ว่าตีลังกาหน้าพับยับเลยนะครับ3ชั่วโมงต่อมาทำรถมาเสร็จพร้อมแข่งต้องบอกว่าสุดยอดมากๆครับโฟร์ธครับขออนุญาตขยับเข้ามาตรงนี้นะครับผมสวัสดีครับโฟร์ธ
สวัสดีครับ
วอร์มอัพมาดีเลยเมื่อกี้เวลาดีด้วย
ครับก็เมื่อวานครับเรานำข้อมูลที่ใช้ในการแข่งขันแล้วก็จากการซ้อมมาปรับเซตเพื่อไปลองในเมื่อเช้าครับก็อย่างเมื่อเช้าได้มีการปรับหลายๆอย่างแล้วทีนี้ทุกอย่างออกมาลงตัวก็เลยทำให้ขี่ได้ง่ายขึ้น
ครับผมในวันซ้อมที่ล้มแล้วพอเนี้ยพี่ก๊อกดูรวมไปถึงแบบแฟนๆเขาแบบโฟร์ธจะกลับมาซ้อม3ได้หรือเปล่าปรากฏว่ารถดีแล้วก็กลับมาซ้อมได้เลย
ใช่ครับก็ต้องยกให้ทีมงานเพราะว่าทีมงานทำกันอย่างเร่งรีบแล้วก็ทุกอย่างออกมาพร้อมเพื่อใช้ในการแข่งขันในการซ้อมครั้งที่3
ครับผมวันนี้เป็นไงครับความพร้อม
ก็สำหรับตัวผมก็อย่างตอนซ้อมเช้าเราได้เตรียมข้อมูลหลายๆอย่างแล้วก็ทำการขี่ก็รู้สึกว่าเรามีความพร้อม 100%
ครับ
การขี่ก็ขึ้นอยู่กับเกมในการแข่งขันว่าจะออกมาเป็นยังไง
ครับฝากอะไรถึงแฟนๆนะครับโรถ
ก็อยากฝากแฟนๆชาวไทยครับส่งกำลังใจเชียร์นักแข่งไทยทุกคนที่ลงทำการแข่งขันในสนามช้าง International Circuit แห่งนี้ครับวันนี้เป็นเลส2ครับเลสสุดท้ายของปีนี้ก็อยากให้ส่งกำลังใจกันเยอะๆพวกเราจะทำอย่างเต็มที่แล้วก็จะคว้ารางวัลมาให้ได้ครับ
ครับผมขอบคุณครับโฟร์ธรัตพงศ์วิไลโรจน์ครับนี่ครับน้องโฟร์ธอยู่ที่พิษที่15ครับพร้อมด้วยพิตตี้เกิร์ลสาวสวยนะครับผมนี่เดินมาเจอตั้งแต่ซุปตาทั้งนั้นเลยนะครับโอ้โหท่านเจ้าสำนักพี่ๆสื่อมวลชนก็มากันเพียบเลยนะครับมาครับคอมเมอร์แมนนี่ครับตามมาครับสวัสดีครับพี่ๆวันนี้เดี๋ยวเราเดินมาเรื่อยๆครับอ้าวไดเรคเตอร์ผมไปไหนแล้วกรองไปไหนแล้วเดี๋ยวไปที่พิษนัมเบอร์23 ครับดูบรรยากาศไปครับตอนนี้คุณผู้ชมที่อยู่ทางบ้านนะครับอยากจะมาชมนี่ไงน้องป๋อมรถเราอยู่ไหนเนี่ยเอานี้ป๋อมนะครับสำหรับนัทธีธานทองโคตรแล้วก็น้องต่อครับจากTNP Motorsport เมื่อวานนี่คือวัยรุ่นไฟแรงของแท้
แรงไปหน่อย
มันเป็นยังไงบอกไว้หน่อยสิ
ก็น่าจะเกิดจากเรื่องความร้อนครับไม่คิดว่าในเลสอากาศมันจะร้อนขนาดนั้นแล้วก็เครื่องยนต์ก็ตุ้มระเบิด
ตุ้มเลย
ไม่รู้เรื่อง
แล้วทีเนี้ยพี่เห็นในรถต้องประคองไปตอนนั้นไฟมันลุกนิดเดียวเอง
ตอนแรกผมนั่งอยู่ผมไม่รู้
ด้วย
ทำไมมันร้อนผมก็เลยเขย่งขาด้วยโอ้โห
แล้วก็ด้วยความมีสติแล้วก็อะไรนะแล้ววันนี้รถเป็นไงครับกลับมาวอร์มอัพได้แล้ว
เรียบร้อยครับ
เรียบร้อยนะ
เสร็จเรียบร้อยยกเครื่องตัวใหม่ที่ผมได้แชมป์ BIC ลง
นี่ครับนี่คือนักแข่งที่ได้รับสิทธิ์วายการ์ดจากแพนพีมีเดีย BIC ซูเปอร์ไบค์แล้วก็ถือว่าเป็นตัวแทนของเราบรรดานักแข่งของเราครับลงทำการแข่งขันนะครับฝากอะไรถึงแฟนๆนะครับน้องป๋อม
อยากฝากแฟนๆที่ดูทางไลฟ์สตรีมมิ่งอยู่ตอนนี้นะครับก็ฝากทีม TNP Motorsport ด้วยนะครับวันนี้นะครับเราแข่งขันกันในเลนที่ 2แล้วก็ทีมส่งนักแข่งลงทั้งหมด2คันนะครับเป็นนักแข่งไวการ์ดทั้งคู่นะครับก็อยากให้แฟนๆติดตามชมนะครับผมรุ่นพันก็เป็นเบอร์29ครับผมแล้วส่วนรุ่น600ก็เป็นเบอร์63ต่อสามนนสาย
คนนี้ต่อสามนนสายฝากอะไรถึงแฟนๆหน่อย
ก็ฝากเชียร์ผมนะครับเด็กบุรีรัมย์ด้วยครับก็สู้เต็มที่ครับรถอาจจะสู้ไม่ได้ครับแต่ว่าก็จะพยายามขึ้นไปให้ได้ดีที่สุดครับก็แซงให้จำครับ
โอเคขอบคุณครับ2วัยรุ่นครับจาก TNP นะครับผมมากันที่ตรงนี้East NJT Racing Team ครับพิท number 23 East NJT Racing Team เป็นทีมแข่งที่ต้องบอกเลยว่าส่งเหล่าบรรดานักแข่งลงทำการแข่งขันเยอะมากๆครับเมื่อวานนี้มีโอกาสได้พูดคุยกับเฮียชิงนะครับแล้วก็ได้เห็นคุณป๊อปอยู่นิดหนึ่งนะครับคุณป๊อปอยู่นิดหนึ่งครับแต่ตอนนี้เรามาเจอก่อนเลยครับน้องๆกำลังให้เนี่ยครับแจกเขาเรียกว่ามอบของที่ระลึกให้อยู่นะครับสวัสดีครับขออนุญาตแฟนๆสักครู่หนึ่งได้ไหมครับใครจะเป็นตัวแทนคุยกับพี่ดีเอาเดี๋ยวให้ชิงออกสื่อหน่อยนะครับพี่ชิงครับเรียนเชิญทางนี้นิดนึงครับนี่คือผู้บริหารทีมครับ SNJT Racing Team ในรายการ Asia Road Racing นี่ส่งน้องๆทำการแข่งขันหลายคนเลยครับฝากอะไรถึงแฟนๆนะครับพี่ชิง
ก็ในรุ่น AB 210นะครับก็มีไฮเป็กนะครับกฤษดาธนโชตนะครับแล้วก็มีวลิตทองครับฟิวนะครับแล้วก็มีวัชรินทร์และพิมพ์หมอนก็ฟิวนะครับก็ฝากช่วยเป็นแรงใจกำลังใจเชียร์เด็กไทยด้วยนะครับ
ครับผมขอบคุณครับพี่ชิงครับ
สวัสดีครับ
ไม่คุยกับน้องๆดีกว่าเดี๋ยวให้น้องๆเขาเอาขอสักคนดีกว่ามางอนแล้วดูเหมือนไม่คุยได้งอนเอาฝากอะไรถึงแฟนๆหน่อยครับครับผมครับผมขอบคุณครับ East NJT Racing Team ครับผมนี่เลยนะครับเดี๋ยวเราจะมาเรื่อยๆครับตรงนี้พิตตี้เกิร์ลเขาแบบน่ารักมากๆเลยนะครับอยู่นี่คาเมล่าแมนของผมนี่คอนเซนเทรตกับพิตตี้เกิร์ลอย่างเดียวเลยนี่ครับโอ้โหพิตตี้เกิร์ลสาวสวยจากอิเดมิสึครับนี่ครับครับอยู่ในกองเห็นอาจารย์เอไหมคราวนี้อาจารย์เอวรพงศ์ไม่อยู่หรอโอ้น่าเสียดายนะครับ